All right, welcome to episode 34 of the Beer and Bullshit Show! Woo! I'm the host, Chris Bennett, and tonight we have another guest from the Bitcoin community. But first, Ruby.
Yes.
What are you and your man drinking tonight?
Well, we have a bunch of pumpkin beers. I think we have 5 pumpkin beer, and he's got an Oktoberfest over there that he wants to drink that I got him. But I'm gonna start with Unicorn Killer.
Nice.
Ooh.
It's a ale brewed with pumpkin and spices.
Greenbush.
Greenbush. So, anyway, I'm gonna crack it.
Hey, Chris, Paul says invite him.
Oh, okay.
Um,
It's not
What is
easy to
Greenbush?
kill a unicorn. It's better be some strong stuff.
That's what it looks like.
Ruby,
Mm-hmm.
where's Greenbush out of?
I thought it was California. Sawyer, Michigan.
So, Michigan. It's pretty good.
A mythical brew.
I guess I can compare it with something else later. It's not the best one I've had, but it's not bad.
7.3%, so...
I do like the label. I think it's kind of neat. It's like a
No, it's really good.
hairy skeleton on a horse, on a unicorn. So.
And what
It's
could
really
be more
good.
festive than dead unicorns?
Exactly.
It's really good. I like it a lot.
It is yummy. Hi, Paul.
Go! I hate it when they make stuff too sweet. I don't like sweet beer unless it's like a milk stout or something. This one is pumpkin-y and yeah, whatever. It's good.
Jibab!
What about you,
No.
Jim Bad?
Great to be with you guys. Now, I normally don't drink pumpkin beers. I don't really have any room for fruit in my beer normally, so I stole this one from Christina, okay? And this is Rock Art Brewery Extreme Pumpkin Imperial Spruce Stout. So check that out.
That's
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it definitely looks interesting. I've never had it before. It's 8% alcohol. I visited Rock Art Brewery about a month ago, and it's a real cool little brewery in Vermont. So we grabbed some of these along with some other stuff. The other beers I've had are excellent from them. Spruce is kind of an interesting beer ingredient.
Yes.
It's like
It
a,
might taste
it's like a
like
colonial era beer
Wow.
ingredient. But look at that color, beautiful. Like
I don't know how I like Christmas tree in my beer, though.
tree. That's quite pleasant. The pumpkin flavor is very subtle. I can't even really detect it, and the spruce isn't very strong either. It's mostly just a nice stout. So I'm giving it a thumbs up. Thank you, Rock Art Brewing. And it says right on the label, "This ain't for no mama's boy or daddy's girl." I don't know what they're thinking there, but anyway,
Just to make it clear.
cheers.
We had a spruce beer once from Magic Hat that was fucking awful. It tasted like Pine Sol.
It was so awful, in fact, that it came in like a mixed box. There were like 2 left. And,
It sat in the fridge. Beer went undrank in our fridge for like
Yes.
3 weeks until I drank it.
yeah, I couldn't. I was like, I'm not even touching that. I was like, I don't care, not drinking that ever again.
This is really good. In fact, I can't even detect the spruce. So I've had a spruce beer. There's one they serve in Philly at this like place. It's like an old city, and it's like called City Tavern, and it's like a historical place. It's supposed to make you feel like you're back in colonial days. And they say it was Ben Franklin's recipe, and it tastes like a frickin' Christmas tree in your glass. It was pretty much undrinkable. But my understanding is that spruce is a traditional bittering agent. It's not that sort of predates hops as far as a beer ingredient. So
it's actually, pine trees in general have a lot of vitamin C and stuff in them. So in the winter, people would drink pine tea for vitamins and stuff, things for fruits and things they couldn't eat in the winter.
God help those poor bastards. Anyway, that's all I've got tonight. So, Paul, what are you drinking?
Well, I remember tonight. I actually got two because I know Nick and Ruby live close to me, so I didn't want to pick up anything that they got. I'll start out with the Finest Kind IPA. I'm not actually a fan generally of IPAs. This is actually pretty good. Not that dark, really. I mean, where's my camera? The pumpkin is actually almost undetectable in this one.
It's a pumpkin beer?
Yeah. Finest Kind IPA pumpkin. Well, supposedly it's supposed to be pumpkin flavored. I can't taste it at all, though. It's almost undetectable.
To me, that's an ideal pumpkin beer.
Yeah. Yeah,
There may be fruit in it, but I can't taste it.
Yeah.
The only thing I like pumpkin is my pie. That's really, I can't
yeah.
have a pumpkin spice latte. I can't do anything like that. But in general, it's not bad. It's not bad to drink though. I don't know. The other one I selected is, and this is actually really great, was what's this called? R.J. Rocker Gruntled Pumpkin Ale. This little bottle, and here, let me slam this.
Go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears.
Hey, Chris, can you boost Paul's audio level a little bit?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I was about to. So hold on a second.
Can you guys not hear me at all?
You're just a little low.
You're a little low.
It's I have like a giant computer set up over here. There's like 8 fans going, and
Probably your iPad.
yeah, it's probably the iPad as well.
That's better.
I boosted him all the way.
So this one, make sure you can see the top of my face. This one a little bit clearer. You can actually taste the pumpkin at this. It's really strong, straight. Like as soon as you crack the bottle, you smell pumpkin pie. But it kind of, the flavor changes of it. It gets malty towards the end, and the pumpkin kind of dies down as you drink the bottle. But from time to time, you'll get like I don't know if it's scent-based or something, but every once in a while, you just get a really strong hit of pumpkin while you're drinking it. But in general, it's not bad. So that's the one I don't like. Yeah, this is the R.J. Rocker's Gruntled Pumpkin Ale.
Nice.
And go Bears. So.
Go.
All right. Well, before we get to our lovely guest, the host here is drinking Shipyard Pumpkinhead. I believe Shipyard's out of Maine. One of the Maine beers, and it's a very good pumpkin beer. I like some pumpkin beers, but this one actually tastes like eating pumpkin pie. So, I have the traditional O'Fallon pumpkin ale sitting in my fridge, which is a beer that my wife likes. I also have the Harvest Pumpkin Ale by Sam Adams, and I have Schlafly's Pumpkin Ale in the fridge as well. So I will be tasting those as well. Now on to our lovely guest. Sarah,
Hello.
what are you sipping on, girl?
Well, okay, so I had a pretty big competition today between beers. So my dad owns a brewery here, and I was at the brewery, and he didn't have any pumpkin beer. So I decided to boycott the family brewery and actually go with the theme. But I did drink some of his newest brew, which is a chili beer, which is spicy as hell. And it's getting spicier every day. So it's good though. So what I've got right now is the Eddie Line Brewing, which they're from Buena Vista, Colorado. Got to keep it local for your first beer of the night. And it's called Pumpkin Patch Ale. It's brewed with pumpkin, honey, and spices. And to be honest, it's more honey than anything, which is cool because I really like honey and I'm not a huge fan of fruit. And yeah, it's good, you know? I can't complain. I wouldn't probably buy it again, but I'm kind of picky. I don't know. I like darker stouts and browns, and I had this amazing Irish whiskey barrel stout the other day that my dad had pulled together, and it blew my mind. And I've yet to recover because all the other beers don't taste as good. And then I've also got a Dogfish Head pumpkin ale, which I like personally because it's got an anarchy symbol right there on the label.
Yes, it does.
So, you know, even if it doesn't taste good, I already like it. But I guess I'm biased.
What brewery does your
Hey,
family?
So my dad owns it's called the Dillon Dam Brewery, and it's in the middle of Keystone, Colorado, Dillon, Colorado, 9,500 feet up in the mountains, and they do all high altitude brewing. They grow their own hops for like the 3 months that we can grow things here. And yeah, it's been open since 1992. They've got awesome beer. I've been talking to them every day about accepting Bitcoin. We're about that close, so gonna mix brews with Bitcoin and it'll be a good party.
Well, you won't be the first brewery to accept Bitcoin, but
No.
you might be the best one.
Yeah, no, the first of Bitcoin are over.
I was doing some research, and I was looking on their website, on your father's brewery website, and it says that they're the 69th largest brew pub in the country.
I did not know that.
69.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm sure my dad will just love to know that one.
So
Wow.
So
They are big.
yeah, out of 1,000 brew pubs or like that, they're like the 69th largest.
Yeah, they have won multiple awards at the GBAF. I'm actually drinking out of a cup that's from the GBAF 2010. My dad's brew, which is called Sweet George's Brown, his name's George, it's a fantastic brown, and I think they've won a gold once or twice. I know that definitely once, but, you know, it's always nice to get your beer a gold medal at the GBAF and drink all day to celebrate.
So also, they have bombers that you can purchase in Denver and in the local area as well of the brewery. So, all you Denver people that may be watching or maybe catching this on one of the episodes or something like that, support the good old Dillon Dam Brewery. You can get some of their beers in your local liquor stores down in Denver and Colorado Springs. So
I just opened this Post Road Pumpkin Ale. It's by Brooklyn Brewery.
Where's Brooklyn?
I have no idea. And
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to clarify something with you guys here real quick. Pumpkins are not fruit.
They taste like fruit.
They are a vegetable.
I don't like vegetables in my beer either. Just
Probably. I don't know.
Although I am curious about that chili beer you mentioned. I do like chili beers.
It's amazing. The first day I tried it was the first day it was on tap, and it was subtle chili and just an extreme flavor. And then, like, I went back maybe 3 or 4 days later and took the same, like, normal sip you'd take, and it was just, like, pure chili all the way down the throat. Like, it was so spicy and
That might
turned
be
into,
too
like,
much.
well, it turned into a sipping beer with, like, a pork chop, you know? So they've got food there, so then you're not just drinking a chili beer at the bar, you're actually using it to drink with or something like
Okay.
that. So,
Well, on the last show, I had a Prairie Bomb for the first time, which has a very subtle chili flavor on top of a I forget if it's a stout or a porter. I guess it's a vanilla stout with
Wow.
chili on top, and it's absolutely one of the best beers I've ever had. It was so well crafted and perfectly balanced. Like, I don't want to get blown away, but I like that spiciness. So
yep, absolutely. Well, I tried one that was a chili peach beer, and I don't really like fruit, like we said in the beer. I think it kind of masks the actual flavors, but it was very delicately balanced. I'm trying to figure out what it was, but I think it might have just been like a home brew. A lot of people out in California are home brewing now, so you just get to go to people's houses, you meet new friends, and they're like, we've got a kegerator, you want to try what we made? So,
cool.
so yeah, it's turning into a little scene out there.
I love chili beer on taco night.
Yeah, chili beer is
Mhm.
awesome. And if you haven't had Rogue Farms Chipotle Ale, it is amazing. I love chili beers. Anytime I see a chili beer, I try it. And there's some gross ones, but there's some fantastic ones.
Hey, Chris, could we back up? Sarah did not really get a proper introduction. Could we back up and cover that for those that aren't aware? I'm sure they're just wondering, like, you know, here's this beautiful woman. She's into anarchy and Bitcoin, and her father has a beer empire. Okay, I want to know who she is.
That man knows all of my thoughts.
I think James did a really good job introducing her now.
That's a perfect intro.
Perfect intro, exactly.
Or Sarah, maybe you could tell
Yeah.
us about yourself.
Sure, I can do that. I like to skateboard, and I like to snowboard. Those are kind of like my two main adrenaline rush things that I do on a daily basis. You know, to be honest, I spend a lot of my time trying to create opportunities for my friends to get involved in the technology of Bitcoin. So it's kind of taken over my life, which I'm okay with. And in the last year, I've been to multiple different countries and heading to more in the next few weeks. So I've spent some time in Honduras, Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico, Canada, Amsterdam, and then in a couple days I'm headed to Paris, Croatia, Brazil, Panama, and then eventually, start of next year, I'm actually moving to a small Caribbean island called Dominica, and I'm a project manager of a project that is aimed around educating an entire nation about the blockchain. And after the time is up, you know, we're doing a party on the island to celebrate kind of a lot of hard work, merchants, adoption, a lot of education within the island, and we're going to give every single person on the island $10 worth of Bitcoin. So
That's incredible.
it's going to be very fun. We've already had a wonderful, you know, embrace from the community, and that's basically what I am right now, is creating an opportunity for education about the blockchain, which is by far the coolest thing that I've learned about in the last 3 years. So.
Right on. Can I ask you more questions about this? It's called the Bit Drop. Is that
Yes.
what it is?
It's called the Bit Drop, playing on the beat drop.
Okay. Now I've been to Dominica, and I know what a wonderful place it is, and I know what wonderful people are there, and they're very industrious, entrepreneurial. I think they're really going to love this. Now, when is this? I want to go. I'm thinking I've been looking for an excuse to go back there for years, and I can't think of a better one.
Yes, please come. So the party is on Pi Day. So it's a true Pi Day because it's 3.1415. And then we're actually going to drop the Bitcoin to coincide with Pi at 9:26:53 in the morning.
Now, how do you give $10 worth of Bitcoin to 70 or 80,000 people at one time? How does that work?
Sure. So we've been kind of in the last few weeks collecting and making partnerships with different Bitcoin companies, and the company that we're partnering to actually do the original drop of Bitcoin is Coinapult. And Coinapult is a company that's based out of Panama. They've been live for at least 2.5 years, I think, and they actually do SMS transactions. So although Dominica does have a really high rate of smartphone usage and ownership, we still don't want to leave the people out that maybe don't have don't have a smartphone capability, because it's actually those are the people that could truly find benefits with Bitcoin. So we're going to do an SMS drop on that morning, and it's an opt-in drop because one of the nicest parts about Bitcoin is that you don't ever get forced to use it. It's an opt-in. So they'll be sent a text to receive this $10. They'll receive it, and throughout the day we're going to have parties all around the island. So we'll have live music, Caribbean chicken, we'll have beer, we'll have a lot of different educational booths, even merchant booths. So, you know, this is all stuff that's kind of coming together now, finding partners that want to be basically directly connected to 70,000 people in one full swoop in one day. But the 6 months leading up to it is kind of the fun part, you know, building the relationships, doing the education and everything like that. But you can absolutely come down to the party. We've got one free trip that we're giving away. So anybody that donates 0.1 Bitcoin or above, and then shoots us a tweet, is entered into a all-inclusive trip. So it's an airline from whatever country you're in, a hotel, and a pass to the party. And I can imagine there's probably going to be some more fun stuff to do as well as we go and we get more sponsors. And then we have another sponsored trip from Charter Ace, which is a really awesome luxury charter company that does charters for yachts and for planes, and you can pay in Bitcoin. So we're going to have them as their sponsor, and they're actually giving away a yacht party. So you can win a yacht party. you can win a yacht party, I think, for its 0.01 Bitcoin, and you'll be entered into winning that. So on top of that, we're going to have travel discounts through cheapair.com, and we're hoping to bring on a bunch of other sponsors. So please join us on the island, because we need all of the world to support this and help with the education. So we'd love to go diving and see the whales, and everybody's invited.
That sounds so incredible. I'll just do a quick plug commercial here for Dominica, because for a lot of, maybe more people have been to Jamaica, so they know what Jamaica's like in terms of the geography. You have these mountainous interiors and lush rainforests surrounded by wonderful beaches. And Dominica is very similar to that, except it's a smaller island, and there's none of that like creepy like Kingston vibe at all. You can walk anywhere in the middle of the night, anywhere. The people are so wonderfully nice and inviting. They invite you into their homes. They're outgoing. It's just a beautiful people and a beautiful place. It is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. There's mild volcanic activity. There's a boiling lake. Is the lake still boiling? I think it would. I want to know that if it is or not. Okay.
What are the drug laws?
What's that?
What are the drug laws?
Of no consequence.
How much money do you have to pay off? I'm just kidding. I don't know. I shouldn't even say that. I don't know the drug laws.
Not that I would know, but you know what? I recommend you just talk to your water sports guy or your cab driver. Somebody will be happy to hook you up. No problem.
Well played.
But you should always follow the rules, just to be safe.
Of course. Well, this is one of the most exciting Bitcoin projects I've heard about in a long time.
How do I win a freaking yacht party?
Yeah, so you go to charterace.com.
Let's get a link over here. Let's see.
Yeah. And that's how you do it. You enter in I think it's 0.1 Bitcoin, 0.01 Bitcoin, and then you'll be entered in, and you can win through your public address. So
0.01 Bitcoin. Okay.
I think that's what it is. They're a new sponsor, and I've been so busy that sometimes numbers escape me.
Now, is there a website that people can go to for just general information about the BitDrop?
Yeah, so we're basically right now kind of in a very interesting stage. Our website is being rebuilt. So our kind of our splash page currently is letthebitdrop.com. So if you can't remember it, just think about letting the beat drop, and it's letthebitdrop.com.
If anybody's not sure what 0.01 Bitcoin is, it's about 4.20 cents right now.
Yeah, so and then you can win the trip for 0.1 Bitcoin, which I think today is, well, the rate's been fluctuating, but yesterday it was $40. When we said it was $50. So it's actually just an opportunity to really allow people to look at this as an opportunity to share the blockchain. So anybody that wants to come down and party with us is basically we're gonna have a good time. I have a feeling we'll probably get the yacht for a couple days in a row and bring the island out and have a good time. So it is a very exciting project. I hear a lot of projects every day, and I'm very excited to hear about the projects that are truly focused on innovation or focused on direct connection to the world. Because I find currently there's a lot of projects, which I still totally support. I think that they're amazing, and I just, they're pushing the space forward and innovation forward. But I find that there's not a lot of projects that are directly connected to boots on the ground education, teaching people what the blockchain can do for their life, teaching them the opportunities for Bitcoin 2.0 and smart contracts, actual true blockchain contracts. There's a marriage going on in a couple weeks in Florida on the blockchain through BitNation. I mean, there's such cool stuff, but the thing is a lot of these projects are 10 years ahead of their time, which is great, except for the fact that there needs to be more legs of people actually out talking to individuals in the world about how Bitcoin can change their life, how it actually gives them the power to own their own bank, and all the repercussions of aid. I mean, most of these islands have been hit heavily by hurricanes. Hurricane Haiti, $9 billion was donated for aid, and less than 2% was ever even given or received by the people. So this is a huge, huge opportunity for any island or any secluded place or basically any person in the world to have the opportunity to accept aid in a moment's notice without a middleman taking it and capitalizing on those days that the funds aren't there or never actually are there. So it's very, very cool.
Or just to do business. I mean, an entrepreneur in Dominica now can, once they're equipped with buying and selling Bitcoin, they can now do business with someone anywhere else in the world, regardless of what Visa has to say about it or PayPal's terms of service. Screw that. And I'm really excited because the people in the Caribbean are so entrepreneurial. They've had to be so creative because they've come from these ravaged colonial places, and some have fared better than others. But I know that the people that I met and Dominica are gonna love this. They're gonna see the opportunity, and I can't wait to see how it, what it turns into.
Yeah, it's one of those things that sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed with the project and what we're doing, because I literally the reason why I use Bitcoin is to monetize my passions. So to give an entire sovereign nation the opportunity to not only learn about an opportunity to monetize their passions, but actually set up programs and weekly meetups where they can get help. It's going to be crazy to see what this what repercussions this has for the island. And the other aspect is that Dominica has a really, really large underage population. It's huge. It's like 24% of their population or more is under 18. So this type of education coming in now is actually going to shape their future, instead of kind of have them catch up to the world later because the technology doesn't reach small islands quickly. It's kind of bringing the best technology of the world now to a nation, like you said, who are filled with entrepreneurs. And it's going to be exciting to see the content that comes out, just monetizing content, monetizing shows, dancing, poetry, art. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it.
No,
So as of right now, there are 3 entries for this yacht club, and I have 2 of them.
Woo!
How about if I agree not to enter and you're just going to share the party with me?
Oh, all
Well,
right.
let me say this though. To get to the yacht, you need a flight and a hotel. So you might as well donate to the Bit Drop and have a chance to win that trip, so that you can actually win the yacht trip too.
I got a boat.
Yeah, I could see. Those Visa commercials that say, or whatever, that say, you can get this, but you can get that, but you could for Visa or through Visa. I could literally see, somewhere in the future, commercials running in the United States and say, you could do this, but here in Dominica, we don't accept Visa or MasterCard. We accept Bitcoin. So,
We only
you know
take
what I mean?
now.
Well, we won't go that far to say that yet, because we don't want Visa or MasterCard to lay down the hammer on us. we'll let the people choose.
Right, sneak in first. It's not a threat, Visa and MasterCard, really. It's not a threat. Call up the stormtroopers. It's cool. Well, I still don't understand how you get Bitcoin to a whole country. Like, where did you get the addresses or the cell phone numbers or like, how do you do that?
Sure. So basically, Coinapult is taking care of all of the technological standpoint of this. So if I misspeak or am not as great at explaining the technology, please excuse me. But from my understanding, basically what we do is Coinapult is partnered with the telecom partners on the island who run the cell phones.
Is that a state monopoly?
There's quite a few different telecom partners. I think there's 2 or 3. They've got optic wire running onto the island for internet. So basically, Coinapult has an opportunity to send one text out to all phones on the island, okay? So it goes through their telecom partner, and this is very common in the Caribbean and other islands, and a lot of other, Mexico does it as well. Telecom partners will send out a text, if you want to win this, press 1, or if you want to opt out, press 2. So
Spam.
people are it's spam, exactly. So that's why we're educating the people 6 months beforehand, letting them know that they're going to be receiving this text. We're giving them free tokens, basically.
So it's not like some crappy U2 album that appears on your iPod suddenly.
No, exactly. That happened to me the other day. I was trying to figure out, I don't use Apples very much, but I got this weird, like, Lorena McKenna on my thing. How did I get this? So, off the topic. So basically what happens is they'll send out the initial text that will say, if you'd like to opt into the Bit Drop, here's $10 worth of Bitcoin to spend at the party today. A little bit about the party details depending on their area of the island, and they'll all be on the website as well. Then they can press 1 to receive the Bitcoin through text message, and when they press 1, the Bitcoin is actually texted directly to their phone, and now they own a Coin-a-Pult SMS wallet. Or if they have a cell phone that's smartphone capabilities, they're going to be able to press 2 that'll actually link them to a link where they can choose a wallet that they want to put it in. So Coin-a-Pult does have a web wallet, but we're currently speaking to other Bitcoin companies and Bitcoin wallets that may be interested in reaching 70,000 people and having a large portion of them set up their wallet. So when they choose the wallets, because they're on a smartphone, they can actually check out what each wallet does and how it works, because each one of our sponsors will have this on their website, on our website. And basically what it'll do is it'll pull through Coin-a-Pult's API, and we'll know what numbers have been used and which ones haven't. So we can't double spend. We won't be sending one person that accepts a text message and then goes to the website and says, oh, I want a web wallet. So we've got that with algorithms taken care of. And then basically it's very easy to send and receive Bitcoin through text. It's as easy as sending a text to your grandmother. You might have to explain your grandmother how to, do this and that to grab it, but it's very, very easy. It's going to be able to reach kids, elders, anybody in between. And the reason for it is we want to keep it simple, because that's the first step of Bitcoin, is showing how easy it is transacted back and forth. So
I got a Coin-a-Pult Bitcoin transaction at the 2011 PorcFest, I think. So that was, over 3 years ago. They sent me 0.01 Bitcoin, which was just like a couple cents. I just sent that to the yacht place.
There we go, full circle.
Cool. Now, which brewery will be sponsoring this? Any ideas, or do you know anybody?
We were actually talking about liquor sponsors the other day, and to be honest, what we're trying to do within the island is have local companies, local restaurants, local rum makers, local everything, actually have their products for sale on the day of the party, because the entire nation's going to have $10 to spend. Some people may not spend it at the party. They might keep it. Some people might spend it on beer at the party, and then others maybe can't make it to the party, but they get the after hours festivities, and they've got rum shops open that are accepting Bitcoin. So, We talked about bringing on large rum sponsors, but to be honest, I think the best option here is to show how Bitcoin can stimulate their own economy. And for the areas that we can't really get, then we'll bring in other sponsors. But for the most part, our sponsors are travel and Bitcoin, fintech, basically any company that wants global exposure. But the internal stuff, even the music, we're going to hire some local bands and really try to bring this to the community. I would love to see the bands, by the time that the bit drops, be wanting to accept their payment in Bitcoin. So we'll see if we get that far.
What's the opt-in % goal?
So we've talked a lot about this, and it's kind of one of those things that's really dependent upon the next few months and how much education is had, what type of connections we're doing. One of our sponsors is the College Cryptocurrency Network, so they're going to reach out to the universities on the island. There's a medical school as well as a college. So, I think that in the next 6 months, I think it's a little bit premature to say what we actually expect. But we're talking anywhere from 40 to 60% opt-in. But we're going to be ready for 100%. So that's why we're doing the fundraising from the community, because we'd like to have $700,000 to be able to give every single person on the island Bitcoin. Because the island is a little bit over 74,000, but a lot of those are kids that maybe absolutely don't have access to a phone, or they're not even old enough to use one. So
I mean, there's like communities of Carib Indians, you know, that are. It's going to be hard to get them Bitcoin.
Well, those are definitely the people that can actually really benefit from it as well. So we're going to do our best effort to reach everybody just with education, and then those who believe that the education is something that they're interested in, and we maybe spark their interest in monetizing their passions, then they'll get Bitcoin and can start going. We also are bringing Bitcoin ATMs on the island. We'll have point of sales. So maybe in over the next 6 months, people get interested, they can buy Bitcoin. After the bit drop, as people are really starting to use it, a lot of people have it. The people that maybe didn't quite understand or to get the opportunity to opt in, or, something happened, they can go down to one of the local areas that we're going to have the BTMs and purchase $10 worth of Bitcoin. For people that don't have SMS wallets, in the leading up of the 6 months, we're going to be doing meetups. So if they don't have a text phone, we're definitely going to be able to access them with paper wallets as well.
So what town do we need to stay in?
Rizzo is the capital. That's where the main party is going to be, but we're also going to throw a party in Portsmouth, which is where the medical college is. And we're talking about one more party in another place, but we haven't quite pinpointed that yet.
Boiling Lake.
Sorry, which one?
Boiling Lake.
Make everybody hike up for a day and
yeah, and don't go swimming. Okay, it's not a swimming lake.
So yeah, it's a cool project. I thank you for being interested in it, because it's a proof of concept for Bitcoin, that's a really cool thing.
Well, now how much do you trust Coinapult? I don't know anything about them as a company, but it seems like there's an awful lot riding on them to sort of make this happen technologically, business-wise, logistically, managerially. Seems like there's 1,000 things that could go wrong.
Sure. So Coinapult is just our wallet sponsor, and they're responsible for doing the initial SMS drop. They're not in control of the funds. So the funds that will be raised are not controlled by any of our sponsors. They're controlled by the board of the BitDrop. And we're using the blockchain, obviously. So all public transactions can be seen. We're really working on the BitDrop, acting like a nonprofit, but actually having accountability through the blockchain, which is unheard of for nonprofits to actually have to be accountable for the way that they spend their money and how they do it. And I think an important part to note within this is we're not just giving money to people, we're actually giving them opportunities to Bitcoin and the blockchain. And so we're actually taking out another middleman of having to turn Bitcoin into fiat and then fiat into bank accounts. So that adds a little bit less risk. Now, I would say that all of our sponsors are responsible for educating on their own products. So we've got BTM's point of sale systems, Coinapult will be doing wallets, Crypto College, or College Cryptocurrency Network will be doing education, as well as an education sponsor that we can't mention yet, but we're looking to partner with. So there is a lot riding on Coinapult. Absolutely, you're right. They have to deliver 70,000 people Bitcoin in one day, but their system is robust, and they've been doing SMS transactions for over 2 years without issues. So that's a very good a good streak. We're very open to third-party audits on funds. So we're working to be as transparent as we can to get support from a community who believes in transparency and but also privacy. Because a lot of the people on the island will want to own Bitcoin privately, so they're going to have options for sending their Bitcoin to wallets that give them larger amounts of privacy. So we're trying to set them up for success with all of our different sponsors.
Wow, you're taking them from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. I mean, it's quite ambitious. There's no denying that the ambition is incredible.
Yeah, well, we're already succeeding at our goals. We've already been talking to many islanders that are very interested in Bitcoin, and making really great relationships with people globally. So, we're already succeeding. If our percentage of people who actually accept the Bitcoin is low, we already have I think 4 or 5 other islands that have reached out to us that are very interested in the next bit drop. So we can learn from our mistakes or from our learnings of, this education works great, or maybe this education would work better, and we're ready for the next island. But to be honest,
Cuba?
we're putting... Cuba would be a really great island. People would absolutely benefit so much from having the blockchain there.
Maybe start by liberating Puerto Rico first, and then work your way up to Cuba.
Well, see, the problem with Puerto Rico is that it's an American based entity.
That's why they need it more than anyone else.
I think we'll let I personally will let somebody else take care of that.
What about is Jeff Berwick in on this at all? What is Jeff Berwick doing anything? Is he going to be involved in this?
Jeff Berwick around that same time is doing the Anarchopulco. He lives in Acapulco, and they're kind of doing like an anarchist hard assets and Bitcoin thing. So Jeff is definitely welcome. Jeff, if you're looking at this, we want you to come. But I think he's pretty busy with his own festival going on currently.
He's the kind of guy that can handle multiple responsibilities.
He does. He's a multitasker.
Certainly right up his alley. So.
Yeah, well, we'd love Jeff to be a part of it, participate, bring his network to it. In the last 2.5 weeks since it's dropped to press, I've talked to over 12 different countries. Articles are going out in so many different languages that I don't speak, and I'm like, oh man, I just hope they're not misquoting me. And we try to pull them all together and get our friends that speak all the different languages to translate it for us.
How's your patois?
Well, terrible, actually. But luckily, the whole island speaks English as well.
So cool. Anyway, how about some beer and bullshit? How are we doing on beer, guys?
I need bullshit.
I'm about to crack this pumpkin ale here, so I'll let you guys know. With the anarchy symbol.
Today's episode should have been labeled beer and Bitcoin, I guess.
It always is. It's always beer and Bitcoin and bullshit. And
you know what? This we're very favorable. Okay, we've had Derek J. Freeman on here twice. Okay, we had MT Lords last 2 weeks ago, who was involved with the Bitcoin thing.
Bitcoin, not bombs.
Right. We are very favorable to anybody promoting decentralized currency.
And even more important, decentralized technology, because the currency is only the first step on the blockchain, and the currency is a good proof of concept, but the ability to change the world truly lies within the technology of having a public ledger that cannot be changed. I mean, it's so cool.
I'm toasting you to that thought.
Cheers.
Yes.
So if anybody wants this,
who was it? Somebody said, I can't remember who it was. They said, yeah, the Bitcoin's okay. It's a pretty good blockchain application, but it's only going to change the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody wants this badass rebel hat, just hit my boy Drew up at Bitcoin Not Bombs.
Hey, why haven't we had Drew on this show, Chris?
I have no fucking idea. Just like my best friend.
Can you make that happen? Why don't you make that happen?
If he's your best friend, have him come on the show.
Yeah, get Drew and Davi on the show, and they would be hilarious
We
together.
don't want to drink water.
Well, Davi doesn't drink, but
well, he can
welcome.
drink water. He's still welcome.
We're talking Drew Phillips, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for
So I just
Davi,
opened this up.
for Davi, it'll be the beer and or bullshit show.
I just opened up the Dogfish Head. It's called Punkin Ale, Punkin, with an anarchy symbol right in the middle. And I like it because of the anarchy symbol, but I'm not a huge fan of the beer.
Isn't it always that way? It's like the best label, the best marketing, and you're like, oh, crap.
Well, I think the best marketing would have been a larger anarchy symbol. They kind of like slide it in there just in case. They don't want to make too big of a statement, but they want to make a little statement. But the beer is actually extremely
Statist.
It's really sadist. It's ruining my taste buds.
I just opened the O'Fallon.
Well, wait, hang on, Ruby. With Dogfish being from Delaware, which is also the home of Punkin Chunkin, which might be why they're calling it Punkin instead of Pumpkin. Punkin Chunkin is a annual tradition of Delaware, so perhaps they're trying to create a connection there. I don't know.
That only people from Delaware will understand.
Have you ever seen a pumpkin thrown by a trebuchet a mile?
Yes.
I have actually.
Because Paul's probably been to that Morton Pumpkin Fest.
I would like to see that, actually. That sounds fantastic.
They have a huge festival here in Morton that.
Yeah, gunpowder and pumpkins. Fucking awesome. Pumpkin cannon.
The best ones are the cannons, the steam, or I guess it's air cannons, where it's just like compressed air and like a barrel that might be 50 feet long, and they literally just shoot these things like far. You can't even see them, you know. Like, anyway, I interrupted you, Ruby. You were about to tell us about the beer you had there.
It's O'Fallon's Pumpkin Ale, and it's actually a lot better than the other two I've had tonight. So I like that
Good.
one.
Now you're a happy camper actually drinking something you like.
It's still not great. I'm still not like a huge fan of the pumpkin.
They get a bonus point for putting it in a can. I support that.
Yeah, O'Fallon's is was it Missouri?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Missouri really has a problem with beer.
They do.
You mean they've got
They
a
got a
solution?
St.
They got a
Louis.
problem.
Their solution is beer.
Or I was just going to say Anheuser-Busch. Isn't that the home of Anheuser-Busch?
Yep.
Nope. That's in, what is it, Belgium now?
Oh, it's now in Belgium. Not even Bush wants to be in Missouri anymore. That tells you something. I don't think any of us are going to be relocating to Ferguson anytime soon. So.
Oh no.
No. Paul's drunk.
I'm not drunk. What are you talking about?
He looks relaxed. Tilt your camera down a little bit so we can see how relaxed you are.
We don't want to see that he doesn't have pants on though.
I have pants on.
The best part about these video calls is you don't have to get out of your PJs.
Yeah.
Where's the old lady that was chewing on your ear last time?
She's actually she's in class right now. She's still in college. She's getting her like master's in like stage production or some shit. I don't know. It's not really artistic, but yeah.
Go Bears.
Yeah. But it's like people just do stuff for money and they sell out to advertising companies, but that's none of my business. Yeah. Actually, Nick, strange thing, in about 5 minutes I'm going to have to jump off this phone call because I'm going to have a conference call with Mike Humphreys because they want me back at State Farm.
With Mike?
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell him I said hi.
I will. Ugh.
What do they want you to do there?
Be like a good neighbor.
If it's Mike, it's a tech interview.
Like, I don't know, blow shit up.
Insurance fraud. I don't know. What do they got? Like, what do they need?
What are we doing? I don't know, fraud, larceny. I'm here to take the system down from within. Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
It's State Farm. It's only like the number 26th largest company in the world.
Whatever. You know.
Our sister-in-law's dad works for State Farm, and he has like what I think has to be like the coolest job ever. I was like, I want this fucking job. He's the one that tests things to determine their safety ratings. So like he tests like toasters and like sets couches on fire.
He
And
has to
like,
put his tongue in the toaster to see what happens.
I want this job. I want to like blow shit up and set things on fire and
Like-
burn down houses and like.
burns his couch while he's like drinking beer, just to see how dangerous it is. That's terrible.
I bet if you guys did like a beer and debauchery show, you might make some Bitcoin just from people watching you do stupid stuff. So
Beer,
You know,
Bitcoin, and debauchery.
our community is very, very happy to donate to people doing stupid stuff.
That's I don't encourage that. This is not Jackass. This is
It can serve a purpose, though. Like, for instance, I hate the idea and the fact that people use fax machines, okay? So if I wanted to see...
Yeah, I fucking hate faxes.
Yes. If I wanted to see what 7 12-gauge rounds look like passing through a fax machine, just for the purposes of science, I mean, that would be valuable to learn.
high-speed photography.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
tip you, Paul. I would definitely tip you for that.
See?
Yeah.
Why are we doing...
Because if there's guns and destruction of terrible technology that needs to be put to its grave, I will definitely give a couple to Satoshis to promote that.
All right, can I ask a fax-related question? I have a fax-related question.
Hold
Okay.
on to that. In that case, we can base an entire television show about me driving a drill through any Apple product. We can just... All right, continue on with the fax question.
Now, in my business, I'm in the advertising business, and probably like many businesses, it's business to business contracts worth, maybe $3,000 to $10,000 tops, somewhere in that range. Now, to do the job, I have to invest about half the invoice amount ahead of time. It's I cannot afford to have any kind of non-payment situation, and in my years of being in business, I've had virtually none. But what I have is a form that I need people to sign, and it's a PDF I send them, and they can sign it and email it back, or they can print it and fax it to me. But it seems very 1994 level tech, okay? But at the same time, like the situation I imagine is I do a job for somebody, they quit, somebody comes back 60 days later and says, "What is this? Why do we owe you $5,000? What do you have to show me?" Somebody clicks something, I don't know. But when I have a signature on a document that's faxed, I know that's bulletproof, okay, for my purposes. So what's my alternative? I want to get rid of the fax. How do I do it?
Smart contracts.
Also,
Yeah, that's completely over the head of corporate America at this stage. On my contracts, I offer a Bitcoin discount at 2%, or I think I increased it to 3% just to see if anybody would bite. Not even a question has ever come up. What is that 3% discount for Bitcoin? Nobody's even asked me about it.
You got to make it bigger.
I can make it 20% just to see if somebody says, "What the hell is that?" Like. Somebody could save a lot of money.
Send me your 20% discount, and I might talk.
But think about it. Like, is that what I have to do? But anyway, smart contracts, things like this. It's a little, I'm talking about like brain dead, business people. I got to keep it simple for stupid.
Jim, the simple answer is USB semen collector.
Oh my God.
Ooh. I have your DNA on file. It's like the next step beyond smell-o-vision, right? Like,
I'm just supposed to like ask some random guy for some semen, and that's not my semen. And like I can't sign this contract. I don't have semen.
Irrelevant.
That's where private and public keys make it quite a bit less messy.
What about like if you prick your finger?
No,
and,
it's gotta be jizz.
Oh no! Only if it has a jellyfish sting.
I've always wondered if that really works, but I
It
really
does.
don't want to find
It does. I got to test it in high school. I was dating this guy, and he was really bad to me. And then we were on a kayaking trip, and he got stung by a jellyfish down his face and on his shoulder, and I got to test it. And it was like the most proud moment of my life, being able to, you know. And we didn't pour it over. So
Wait. Hold on.
Wait a minute. I missed something important. What do you treat a jellyfish sting with?
With so either vinegar or ammonia work really well. So if you've got vinegar or if you've got like Windex, they work really well.
What if you don't?
If you don't have that, then urine works because there's a high concentration of ammonia in urine. So
I saw that. Right.
Yeah, so you get to urinate on your friend or ex-boyfriend, you know, whatever, however it works.
Instead of being pissed off, you got pissed on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was pretty pissed off at first, but you know. I actually got stung in Roatan, Honduras, from the top of my mask, right above my hair, all the way down my body by jellyfish.
Oh my God.
And I was about 30 feet deep when it happened, and it was awful. I wondered if I was going to make it to the top of the water before I freaked out. Thankfully, I did, but it was a rough one. I had kind of rash on my face for the rest of the time that I was in Honduras, and you know.
Now, were there like a crew of Hondurans to piss on you?
We were actually, they weren't venomous jellies. They were just stinging jellies. There was no need for an anti-venom. So they just said you could put beer on your lips is kind of the translation that came to me was put beer on your lips and you'll be okay. And so we stopped at a little island called Cayos Cochinos, and the local people made this crazy root alcohol. They pull the roots out of the seawater and then they ferment them, and it is fantastically awful, but it's like a magic serum for pain. Like it literally is so strong. So I had some of that and then I was all good.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's
just like get drunk. So
I was going to say, like, no matter, whenever anything bad happens to you, a little beer on the lips is probably a decent.
I know, exactly. It was a good recommendation by the boat captain for sure.
It's not really going to help your sting. You're just not going to give a shit as much, you know. Like,
yeah, I went back into the water that day and got some really. I'm an underwater photographer, so took some pictures and was not worried about the jellies that were swimming by, you know. So alcohol has its wonderful aspects.
Well, I noticed a beautiful anemone on your Facebook page. Is that a picture that you took?
All pictures on my Facebook page are mine.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now, was that natural lighting, or do you bring your own lighting down there with you?
All natural, and most of the photos are taken with my breath and not scuba. The only photos that you'll see that are taken with scuba are the ones where I'm surrounded by 15 sharks.
Incredible.
So yeah, I'm a big free diver because the best light is in the top 30 feet of the ocean. So
okay.
Yeah. And you obviously know this, but there's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Well, so they claim. I haven't actually been there 365 days a year. Whale watching, and Dominica is supposed to have some of the most beautiful diving. So if you come down, we'll be dive buddies, and we'll go check out the reef.
You know, I've done a little bit of snorkeling, and I've never done any kind of scuba or.
It's amazing.
I'm more of a hangout on the beach with a cocktail.
Well, you can hang out on the yacht.
Yeah.
you guys hang out on the yacht. I'll scuba dive down, take some pictures, bring them back up, and then we'll party over it.
We'll figure something out. I guarantee there will be no shortage of fun to be had down there. Oh my God.
Very true.
Nick's already got it on his calendar over here, so I don't know if it'll happen.
Yes.
You know what? I mean, getting down there is going to be kind of expensive, and it's going to be humiliating because we're in the United States. But
Well, yes, you've got to go through your full pat down and regulation. I call it my monthly or bi-monthly massage because I opt out of all screening processes, and I have them give me my little pat down. And it's funny because I travel for a living and I live alone, and I have a cat, so I'm kind of like that, mid-20s girl that has a cat and nothing else. And so I was laughing with my mom because when we went to Panama, her face was just pure terror when I opted out of the put your hands up and get scanned. She thought that I had done something wrong. I was smuggling drugs. What the hell are you doing? And I said, no, I asked for that. I'd rather have a human being, pat me down than have virtual pictures. And so you'll have to go through that to get to Dominica. But once you're there...
Nick, were you the one that gave me the idea of saying you have a torn rotator cuff?
That's Jeff Berwick. Jeff Berwick.
Okay.
That's Jeff Berwick's excuse, is that he tore his rotator cuff and he can't lift his hand up.
And so you can't go like this. Okay, so...
I don't give an excuse. I just tell them I would like a private screening because I don't believe in this, technology.
Now you say private screening. The only time that I've flown since they had this stuff, I said no. I want everyone to see what you're doing.
Well, the thing is I say private screening, but every single time I've ever been screened has been in public in front of everyone. So.
They will do it in private if you allow them to.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you.
The last time I did it was to go to Phoenix for the Freedom Summit. And I swore I would never do this, and this reaffirmed why I wouldn't do it. But all I could do is, in line, I was like, okay, don't touch my balls. Okay. They're like, what? I said, yeah. He said, well, this is what we need to do. We're going to do that. That's fine, but don't touch my balls. Well, maybe I need to get a supervisor over here. Okay. Well, it seems like, do we have a problem here? Only if he touches my balls. Well, should I get the police? I said, well, if I need the police, I will call a sex crime detective if he touches my balls.
They don't really know how to handle these requests because I travel a lot, and places that you opt out. I mean, just what was it, 2 weeks ago, I flew from San Francisco to Denver. And, I mean, they were jammed packed. This was a Monday morning, 8 a.m. People were just, oh, my God, the line was outrageous. And I said, I'd like a personal screening. And the guy looked at me like I was the devil. And then he's like, well, just stand here. And so, they've got the little mats with, like, the feet that are overly large that you're supposed to, like, stand the right direction. So I'm, like, just chilling, waiting. And the girl walks up, and she was, like, very upset, and they went through quite possibly the most thorough search I've ever had. I've been searched in Mexico, I've been searched in Costa Rica, I've been searched in Honduras, and all by like independent government agencies, not where they're filmed. And it was by far the most intrusive massage I've ever had in my life. And at the end of it, they found nothing except for in my backpack I had a 4.1 ounce container of goat cheese.
Lock down the airport. Lock it down.
Yeah.
Lock it down. We got 4.1. It's not 4, it's 4.1. All flights are halted. Call security. I need backup. Get me backup. 4.1 ounces of goat cheese.
Because goat cheese can be spread, which is something that apparently terrorists do, is they spread things that, create fear, I guess. I don't know. So they took away my $7 raw goat cheese, and I was really upset. So. But then my friends are all laughing at me, telling me, that I was putting the world at harm by taking unpasteurized milk products through,
What do you think you are? Some kind of Amish terrorist? What the hell is going on there?
I'm on all the watch lists now because of my goat cheese.
Well, you're at least on your way. I think there's no doubt about that.
Jim.
We're gonna drive to Cozumel and then take a boat.
Cool. Yeah, do it. Cozumel is a beautiful little spot. There's a lot of really cool locals there. Actually, I spent 3 weeks in Cozumel. Some fun people.
Hey, Jim. Being
Yes.
on this show, being on the show, you're already on the lists.
And you know what? I try hard to get on the list, but I haven't really succeeded. And I was, in fact, I was a little disappointed they let me fly when I went to Phoenix. I was like, what? I'm not on a watch list? I'll keep trying.
I saw a really great meme today with a guy in the airport that says, like, on your government watch list, like, proud to be on your government watch list. So I was like, wow, that's, like, pretty bold, because I walk through airports all the time with Bitcoin propaganda, you know, Bitcoin not bombs, or Coinapult, or I've got an Ethereum shirt. Trust me, the TSA has no idea what Ethereum is yet. That's, like, a whole new...
They don't even know to be scared of Ethereum yet.
I know, their brains will be blown. The Ethereum actually has the ability to completely decentralize airports and especially traffic control. So.
Uh-oh.
So 2 days ago, I went into the Chase Bank to close my checking account, and I had to sit
Congratulations.
down. Yeah, I had to sit down with a personal banker, and they're like, "Why are you leaving?" And I said, I don't wish to disclose these reasons. And she just, like, looked at me funny.
Was she pressing, like, the red button under her desk? Like,
yeah. Help! Going AWOL!
So, you know, I sat there, and she was like, well, you know, I need to put something here. And I said, just put Bitcoin and see what happens.
Yes! Yes! I'm so glad that that's what you put.
So she did. She's like, you know more about that than I do. And I'm like, yeah.
You should have said, well, there's a career waiting for you.
So it was completely uneventful, and she put Bitcoin as my reason for canceling my checking account.
That's so great. That's so wonderful.
Somebody's going to look at that and be like, huh?
Well, the thing is that even if it goes down the totem pole and nobody really sees it, the woman that you said you're quitting her bank for Bitcoin is definitely going home and reading about Bitcoin. So you actually did a really great thing, because the thing is women will go like, well, if he doesn't want my services or my bank services, like, what is this? And then she's going to be inundated with the opportunity to have freedom in her life and the ability to be her own bank. And she might even quite possibly quit the bank and start being her own bank and monetize what she actually wants to do, because I can guarantee she hates sitting under fluorescent lights, typing in numbers that are completely just bunk because the fiat system is so overly inflated. I think you did a really good job by saying Bitcoin.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I would have said, like, bailout bitch. You know,
I'd like to think so. Also, monkeys might fly out of my butt.
I have a question for Sarah. You know, is it just my perception, or I mean, I've been involved in a lot of different freedom movements or projects, and you know, a lot of different components. Everything from long time ago Libertarian Party to End the Fed to Ron Paul to TSA to Fully Informed Jury Association to the drug war to, you know, you name it. Okay, I know somebody in all of it. Is there something about Bitcoin that is specifically seems to draw women in? Or is it just my perception, or is there something different about this component that is bringing in these, like, really incredible, powerful, smart women?
So yeah, it's actually something that I focus on daily. So when I first came into Bitcoin, I didn't drop into the community at all and never asked anybody about it. I just owned Bitcoin. My friend Eric Voorhees answered a question, and he's like, this is the answer to your question, have Bitcoin. And I was like, okay, whatever. In 2013, I went to the San Jose conference for Bitcoin, and there was about 6 women there. And it was a huge conference. I mean, it was just inundated with really, really brilliant people, but only 6 women. And within the conversation of Bitcoin, over the last few years, it's been heavily male dominant. I've gone to meetups where I'm literally the only woman. I've been to conferences where some of the only women there are maybe media or press, but they're not keynote speakers. They're not talking about their projects. So this is something that I've looked at and done a lot of studying on. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. There's huge amounts of reasons why Bitcoin is very appealing to women, and there's tons of women in the community. Since I really started looking into it, I have at least 1,000 new women friends in the world in the last year. So I think one of the main reasons why Bitcoin is such a beautiful option for women is not only can they monetize their passions, they can give freedom to their friends and help others globally, which is a really large implication to talk about with women, because a lot of women and men, you know, I don't want to say, I believe in men and women having the exact same ability to connect. Although women's corpus callosum is slightly thicker to maybe integrate emotions, I really don't believe in the stereotypes that modern day feminism tries to shove down your throat. But what I would say is that women have a very strong network effect. So the women that have come into this space have done huge ripples in the Bitcoin space to educate others and bring other women into the space. So one of my other projects is called the BitPurse, and it's all the crypto accessories it's all the accessories that you need for your crypto world. So basically what we're doing is, because women don't carry wallets into the world, and it's relatively silly for me to tell my girlfriends, you want to get into Bitcoin, set up a Bitcoin wallet. They're like, I guess I'll have a Bitcoin wallet. But when I tell my girlfriends, I'm going to set you up with a Bitcoin purse, they're like, ooh, what's in my purse?
Accessories.
Exactly. So we're filling their purse with Bitcoin accessories. It's fun. It's a great project. Any night of the week, women can have a date with Bitcoin. So like shows like MK Lord's show on Wednesday night that unfortunately I missed tonight because I was kind of doing some stuff so I could hang out with you guys. She does crypto convos every Wednesday. Any night of the week, a woman can go and have a date with Bitcoin and learn more. And inside the platform, there's a lot of like new hidden applications that we're putting in. So when we launch, the women will just be inundated with not only community, Bitcoin education, but the opportunity to connect with each other, which is what Bitcoin needs, is, you know, to be able to do it. So
I got my
yes.
You've got a bit license.
I almost
made, or the third one. And here's my key if anybody wants to send me some money. Right
Now
there.
just don't show your private key.
Hold it still.
Is that your private key or your public key?
Oh, that's definitely public. It's laminated.
Yeah.
Wasn't there private key? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's so if like somebody wants to give me Bitcoin out on the street for something.
Remember like a year ago somebody was doing a Bitcoin story on the news and they ended up revealing
and they got it stolen in a second.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I love that. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Because the thing is not only did it show how quickly Bitcoin can be transacted, which was the main part of that, is like, oh wow, where did the Bitcoin go? We have no idea, you know. But also it showed to the entire world is that you truly are your own bank, and if you don't take care of yourself and you don't back yourself up and you show somebody your private keys, you are no longer your bank. They own your money.
Did the person like offer to give it back right away?
He did. He offered to give it back, and the news station said, no, you earn it. And he came back and said, you know, it's a great lesson for your viewers to make sure that they keep their private keys private and their public keys are able to be displayed on national television.
Please welcome Christina to the transition.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Chris. I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Nice to meet you.
Wasn't there
the bit drop
a discussion like? Wasn't there a discussion like earlier this year, or I think it was late last year, that someone made, I don't know if it was a comment or a joke or whatever, that Bitcoin is sexist and racist because it's a white white middle-aged it almost sounded like being back in the LP again. Bada boom. Anyway,
there was that, and they were sadly misformed because the thing is, Bitcoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin is for everyone.
Hey, Sarah, how about running this by you, maybe for someone to pick up for like a future project or whatnot? Okay. You know that there are a lot of areas in the United States where, African Americans used to be like really, really entrepreneur type people. Okay, and a lot of places like Detroit, DC, LA, really Chicago, really dilapidated areas, where people like African Americans and stuff could benefit from Bitcoin, all right, and doing the entrepreneurial thing. How would an educational thing like that be pursued? Because you see that unemployment usually is higher in African American areas, but if they could just do an entrepreneurial thing through Bitcoin, how would that like kind of pan out? And do you know anybody that would be interested in some kind of a project like that?
Sure. So I think that's a really, really, really good point, that currently within segregation of neighborhoods and areas that there isn't as much opportunity, right? And it's not because of skill or dedication. It's truly because of access, possibly even to a computer and a printer, that you can print out a resume. So the cool part about Bitcoin is that you can get paid directly without having a resume, and nobody actually even has to know who you are. So I think within neighborhoods and with any state, actually there's a project right now going on which is an alternative currency to Bitcoin. It's called Bluecoin, and what they're working on is making sure that people have access to clean water. Now, with the situation that's been going on in Detroit, where large neighborhoods have been shut off from access to water, there's huge opportunities for entrepreneurship there. So, I think there's a lot of different types of altcoins that can help smaller communities, but Bitcoin in whole, I think that ultimately it's about education first, because people need to understand that they don't have to go to Wendy's and put in a resume and a sperm sample and sorry to be rude.
It's usually a stool sample.
Yeah, exactly. So to go back on the previous conversation. But you know what, the regulations may change quickly, but the thing is that you can actually bypass pretty much any type of legislation or litigation or employee laws by being your own employer. So, this is what I think about when you ask that question. How many of these amazing women in these neighborhoods know how to dance? Like, a lot of them, right? So 100%. Maybe it's... Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I grew up under a rock in a 100% white person neighborhood. I could not dance at all. And the first time that I went to an Atlanta club, I was like, holy crap, I'm so outside of my space, right? So if these women have talents, dancing, singing, teaching, yoga, whatever they love to do and whatever they're good at, art, whatever, they can actually film themselves and actually monetize it. You know what, though? The thing is that actually sex workers are so much safer by using Bitcoin than they are fiat currencies. So that's also, not to promote people to take that route, but absolutely, it's an opportunity for anybody in the world to do whatever they do well and get paid directly. So I think that's the education that I would take to Chicago or Detroit or any area of the world that maybe has been hit by a natural disaster, is the education. Now, the actual connection to that, I think that the best way to do that is find local entrepreneurs in the community that are interested in helping the youth and educate them on Bitcoin, because that's really how you start to like create the network effect, is talk to educators instead of technologists or computer scientists, because Bitcoin is very, very filled with brilliant people, but a lot of those brilliant people can't necessarily connect to everyday people about how they can use Bitcoin to make their lives better. So that's kind of where I would start.
Speaking of brilliant people, Jim Bab, how is Dorothy using her winnings?
Well,
Go ahead.
so Dorothy's not here to answer that question, but I'm her mommy, so I may speak for her, even though you directed it to Jim.
Well, you can please talk, Chris.
First, clarify the question for those that don't know what she's talking about.
Well,
Make it quick.
God, you're bad. So, Dorothy, how much did she win? She did a competition where she did these awesome. I'll get some. I got them on my fridge.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Dorothy won an ounce of gold at PorcFest and a sort of the Agorist Challenge.
Yeah.
So she won an ounce of Bernard von Nothaus gold. So right now, what we're working on is her winnings are going to be spent on a dual extruder, but we're waiting for the exact extruder we want to be available, which is going to be shortly. However, what we're doing this week, we're printing prosthetic hand parts for eNable, and we're going to a conference at Johns Hopkins on Sunday where they're bringing 3D printing to medical professionals in the prosthetics industry, where you can make a prosthetic hand for $50 that rivals the functionality of something worth tens of thousands of dollars.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
High five.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just being in the
High five. Yes.
so here's the thing. I mean, that's ultimately the goal. She's going to continue her entrepreneurial tasks by hopefully getting a website up and offering additional magnet products for sale to anybody who would like them. That's on one of her list of things to do to continue with the mode that she explained in her presentation. But having the printer here and having the really smart Jim Bab here, they've been working together to work on really cool projects. We've ramped up basically they have ramped up to be able to print these hands and just keep learning. That's really what's going on with it. Just keep learning, just keep trying new designs, and also eventually try to respond to market demand. So if somebody calls up once the website's up, or emails and says, hey, this is great, I'd really like a such and such for my business or my organization or what have you, then it's just really cool to be able to fulfill that in the world of 3D printing. And there's so many inspirational stories and news that you can follow in the 3D printing industry. So it's been really exciting for our whole family to just watch this whole thing unfold and kind of be in, like, I don't know if we're really considered the first gen, or maybe we're already in the second gen, but it's really in the beginnings of this exciting industry.
Yeah, Dorothy doesn't even know it yet, but in the queue of projects after we're done with our prosthetic hands, we've got 30-round magazines to print. So that's going to be fun.
So Chris.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait.
perhaps we should discuss this later.
Chris, there's something that I would say that brought an idea to my brain, is that a lot of competitions do really well. So when people people feel like they can earn something or like win something. I think that might be a really great tactic. That's something that we're going to utilize on the island is dance competitions, art competitions, maybe even cooking competitions, and then give small allotments of Bitcoin out to kind of just bring in Dominica, yeah, exactly, and be able to bring like small little awareness to what the Bitcoin can do, but then you could do that in Detroit or Chicago or anywhere where people have huge amounts of talent, because everybody likes to win something, even if it's useless, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's a great idea. Saying, well, someone obviously most people are going to say, well, what is it? If you give them Bitcoin, and they've never heard of Bitcoin, especially, that's the perfect conversation starter.
And it gives you like 6 weeks. Like, we're gonna have a dance competition in 6 weeks, and the prize is $200 worth of Bitcoin. And then they have 6 weeks to go. Like, well, do I want to win this Bitcoin, and do I want to practice this dance? It actually creates like, you know, kind of a self-education model for people that will actually want to win it. That's what I would think would be a good idea.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, it would be fun. And I'd love to see all the competitions as well.
Definitely.
Chris, you need to tell Dorothy that there's a market for magnets that have that sign that's behind your head on it.
The sign? Yeah.
Yeah, I get
the message.
Vote for nobody?
Yeah. Red, white, and blue, neodymium rare earth magnet.
Yes. Yeah. Leadership you can trust.
Yes.
I actually was reading this thing like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, and a town, I think in Minnesota, elected a dog to be their mayor. And I was like, yes, people are finally going in the right direction, you know? It was so cool.
Hey, Nick, check this out. This is the latest design, inspired by Ernie. Oops, here we go.
Oh, wait, I need one of those.
I know. That's wonderful. Still voting? Got blockchain?
Yeah, it came out really good, too.
This is my spray paint version.
Ah! Are you going to put that on your front yard?
Yes, it's
Very
fucking
good.
Really?
If you don't vote, the terrorists win.
Well, we told you about the night we rode around and put the stop. What did you say? Voting?
No.
What was it?
So there's just these red stickers and in white text it says voting, and you go up to stop signs and you put it underneath the stop.
Oh, I get it. Nice.
We did that one night in the middle of the night, and we drunk and wasted, and walked around in our country club neighborhood and put them on all the stop signs around us.
So how long did it take for them to remove them?
2 of them were down within a few days, and one of them is still there.
Yeah. That's a success.
Brilliant.
If we had some more, we would probably do it again.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. I'm
Yeah?
just sipping on a Sam Adams Honey Queen.
Yeah, I keep seeing your post about this thing. So, is it like a sweet beer or what?
It's it's rather sweet.
Yeah.
It's a ale brewed with clover honey,
Yeah.
orange blossom honey, chaminel with alfalfa honey added. So
Sounds- yeah.
it's like they put a mead and a beer together.
Okay.
So,
I love honey. I don't really like
Yeah.
sweet beers, but I
Yeah.
love honey, so that might be something I've got to try.
if you can find it, you need to get it because it's one of them limited edition.
Limited editions,
ones. Yeah.
Maybe at like a
because,
restaurant they might have it or something.
Because I went to my local Hy-Vee and my boss didn't tell me this, that he dropped off like 8 cases of the Sam Adams Honey Queen off at Hy-Vee, and they bought it up like quickly. And so I asked the manager, I was like, hey, how much did you pay for a case of those? And he's like, oh, wholesale or retail? I go, well, obviously you're not going to sell it to me wholesale, so sell it to me retail. And he said $24, and I said, okay, I'll be back. And I bought a case. So, and it's proven to be a good investment, because I borrowed a buddy's lawnmower because ours went on the fritz. And I said, okay, well, if you allow me to borrow your lawnmower, I'll give you a bottle of this Honey Queen plus a bottle of my homebrew.
Oh, nice.
And that was a fair exchange. So
Perfect.
Great.
So I'm
just confessed to multiple felonies.
And you know, the reason why I have a lot of people, I've been getting more and more people on the show about Bitcoin and all that, because I'm still kind of on the fence. All right, I'm still kind of skeptical. Okay, about the whole Bitcoin thing. Okay.
What are the questions that you? What brings it up to you?
I need to be more educated about about Bitcoin. All right. It's not because I really like the idea of decentralized technology, decentralized currency, and all that, because of the way our basically the U.S. dollar is backed by nothing. It's backed by nothing. It's backed by debt. Okay, it's backed by confidence. And if people, if the confidence of the U.S. dollar went kaput, the dollar goes kaput. Okay, and people need a backup plan. And I think with Bitcoin, I'm kind of skeptical with, it's not real, it's not physical, like if you had like gold or silver, but it's true. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. So hard assets are always a great thing to have. Having gold and silver in your possession are absolutely amazing. But if you want to do global work with companies everywhere, it is extremely impossible to send gold from here to Panama overnight. It's impossible, and then you actually have to deal with the state to do that. So Bitcoin actually gives you an opportunity to transfer knowledge, education, contracts, tokens in the form of Bitcoin money or currency, cryptocurrency, anywhere in the world. So I think it's a common thing for people who are like hard money, gold bugs, to actually grasp a concept of something not actually being physical that they can hold. But the thing is that Bitcoin is backed not only by faith and the participation in it, but by math and algorithms. Like Eric Voorhees says, you can't put a gun to an algorithm. 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. So that's a really beautiful thing, because when they started confiscating gold in 1924, 1937, like, what could people have done, to keep their actual asset and not be handed this piece of toilet paper? Almost nothing. But now you have the ability to not only own your own wealth and your own bank, but you can't give it to anyone unless, they have your permission. Private keys are private, especially if you keep them in cold storage. There's the education that comes along with is absolutely crucial to understanding why Bitcoin and the blockchain in particular is actually going to change, the way that people look at fiat currencies. Like, fiat will always be there because it's a great anonymous exchange of value. But when you actually need transparency, or to do global work, or just send, like my grandmother's 91, and she called me the other day, she wanted to give my cousin a present, and she said, I don't have time to get anything, and I said, give him Bitcoin. So I printed him out a paper wallet, and I gave him Bitcoin, and she paid me. So there's like really great opportunities for kind of like overlapping, But I think the education is the part that once you understand the technology behind Bitcoin, which is the blockchain, the questions can be answered so much more easily than trying to compare gold or silver to Bitcoin, just simply because they're both great. But Bitcoin has an advantage because it can be sent globally in a minute of seconds, or in a moment of seconds. So.
Right on.
But we definitely need people that are bringing these questions, So like skepticism, the questions that come about. When you ask these questions, people that see your show that don't understand Bitcoin are having the exact same questions. Like, why would I trust something that's only digital,
Right.
So.
And that's the reason why I love having you guys on the show, because I see a future. Okay? I see a huge future. I don't see this going away. Okay?
No.
I really don't. All
No
right?
way.
I really don't see this going away. Okay? No matter how much the federal fucking government, okay, it tries to stop this, okay, it's not going to go away.
Yeah,
all
you can't
right?
stop
And that's
it.
the beauty. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. Okay? And that's the reason why I love having you guys on the show, okay, is because I want my audience to learn two things, okay? One, drinking the piss water there is an alternative. Okay? All right, there is an alternative to
First
drinking
and foremost,
piss water.
The most important part, don't drink piss water.
Exactly. Okay. Even though at my job I handle a lot of the piss water. Okay. The second thing is educating people about alternative methods. Okay, whether if it's political views, currency, even agorism, it's just alternative economic, things, because what would happen if the dollar collapsed tomorrow?
Ask Argentina.
Right.
Ask Zimbabwe.
What would happen? We would have to turn to Bitcoin.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beautiful part about this, is that when economies have crashed, when Argentina collapses their currency every 10 years, when Zimbabwe's note went so high that you could literally not even buy a loaf of bread with 1 million Zimbabwe notes, that's what happens. But that's in the past, and that's the thing about education within Bitcoin. Like you said that Bitcoin will not be stopped. Now, let me just correct you. Bitcoin, the currency, could very, very, very possibly not make it. But what will make it is the blockchain technology. And so that's something that is the most important thing to note, is that as you're sharing opportunities for getting in Bitcoin, remember that it's not about actual money, it's about technology. It's about what is behind the ability to send and receive value throughout the world. And I think that's the more important part that people often forget, because we're humans. We love to have value. We love to have worth and, wealth. And the technology that's running behind Bitcoin is actually truly what won't go away and can't go away, because that's what math is based on, or that's what math is based on so.
Well, and I would just want to add to that. I mean, what is truly subversive about the blockchain is what happens inside people's brains if they see something that doesn't require a central authority and they get used to that idea. Like, oh, well, like if they get used to using Bitcoin, well, you get used to the idea, well, no, I don't need a central authority. And then something comes along and says, well, I want to be centrally in charge of that. They get laughed at. Okay. Once you've experienced the strength and the power of decentralization, the next guy that comes along and says, "Can you put me in charge of that?" They're going to be like, "No, no, get out of here."
What do you mean?
And I can't think of anything more subversive than that. I mean, this is a long-term project, and we're seeing it in other areas too. Education. Okay, did you know that right now there's a thing called OpenCourseWare, where you can get the courseware from hundreds of universities available for free on your computer. Okay, now that sounds pretty neat, right? But a college education, I mean, you can get every course that's ever been taught at MIT on your computer for free. Okay, you can acquire that knowledge even if you have a phone in India. You can get that. Now, what I thought that's pretty cool, but you know what made it really interesting is like, okay, that's not really. I mean, a college education is not just the courseware. How are you going to collaborate? Well, now there's a decentralized sort of study groups have formed around this free material. So whether it's in India or China, people are getting together, teaching each other using the courseware that's available. Okay, so again, it's like, well, why would we want to pay MIT hundreds of thousands of dollars of tuition when we get all the information for free? It's subversive, and it's getting out there. Khan Academy, Khan Academy's got frickin' thousands and thousands and thousands of free lectures available. Sorry, no state authority required. And it's just neat to see these kind of things. So I'm hoping
any education.
Yeah. So if Bitcoin works, it's not just going to be about the currency, which is of course is crucial. Okay, because it has its tentacles in everything else. So if we can establish a free decentralized currency, then who's to say what something else needs to be centralized? Well, why do we need a centralized anything if we can have a decentralized currency? So
exactly. Well, on the education part, to go back to one of the largest problems within city neighborhoods are the lack of education or the lack of funding, right? So if we go into the idea that education can be global, I took a cryptography class online from Coursera so that I could understand how Bitcoin actually worked. And I was taking a class with everybody around the world, and it was so cool. It made the world seem less scary. It made it seem smaller, and I was learning the exact education that Stanford puts out on cryptography because it was a Stanford class. So these are things that anywhere in the world, if people have access to internet, which should be another aspect that the blockchain can take care of through mesh networks. There's so many solutions that a decentralized technology can bring, and ultimately what it is educating enough people in the world so that they're motivated to change it, because literally a 12-year-old can take this technology and turn it to his advantage, and there's nothing to stop him or her.
Right.
And who's to say that somewhere down the road someone's like, well, there's a really good explanation on the Beer and Bullshit show, okay, and maybe you need to watch episode 34 to know what Bitcoin is like and good beer. That we could be an educational tool as in itself. Anything's possible.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it would probably be like, advisory strong language is present, but
we do not promote the over drinking, and we do not promote Bitcoin. Please do your own research before.
Yeah, exactly. But
I don't promote anything. I don't promote shit.
I promote good
episode. This might be the most
good beer.
Informative.
Right. And that's the reason why when I started the show, 34 episodes ago, all right, I wanted to, it to be some of an educational process, educating the masses about good beer, and educating people about certain topics that we talk about and stuff like that. This is a pretty much decentralized show. Okay,
Absolutely.
We talk about what we want to talk about. It's not scripted. It's not okay. We get in the chat 10 minutes before the show and say, okay, what are we going to talk about tonight? Everything is decentralized.
I think that if you tried to do that, it would backfire.
It would
so
backfire.
quickly.
It would backfire because of the personalities on the show. Because the personalities on the show, it would so much backfire.
I once
Okay,
tried to
because-
do a speech that I practiced for like 3 weeks in advance, and I was like so on top of it, and I knew the speech word for word, and I was practicing my acting and all this shit, and I got up in front of 400 women that were all trying to be flight attendants, and I completely blacked out and couldn't remember anything. And so now, anytime I get on stage, I have like a general idea, but my only thing that I do now, which I think is a huge thing for people in everyday life, is I find the one person in the audience that looks really, really uncomfortable, and I try to make them feel comfortable. And that it's worked amazing. It's so amazing when you actually take the time to speak from your heart, which is what I think is happening here. You know, people are speaking from their hearts, and we're having a good time instead of, you know, I see a lot of shows that are very, very scripted, and it's hard to watch them because you're like, God, just break out and say what you think.
That's what I used to do. That's what I used to do during my speech class when I took speech class back in community college. I used to, you know, lay out the whatever topics I was thinking of, okay, and if there was just one or two people that were just like, well, I don't like that or whatever, I gave a speech on it was the Real ID Act, okay, and there were a couple of people in my class that were just like for it. And I was obviously totally against it. So I made a speech. Oh, no, it was a Patriot Act. It was a Patriot Act. There was a couple of people that were, like, for it, okay? And there were a lot of other undecided people. But I concentrated on those 2 or 3 people that were for the Patriot Act. And I looked at them, and all through the whole presentation, okay? And 2 of those 3 people came up to me after the speech and said, man, that is a really bad law. They need to not pass that. Okay? I mean, even 2 out of 3. Okay, I couldn't get the third person. But, you know, 66%, that's a better success rate than Congress.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and I bet that third person needed to see it 3 times before they might accept it as
Right.
true. Because you
Right.
may have been the first person that ever blew their mind on
True.
that. You may have been the first person that, like, dusted away those old cobwebs and gave them the opportunity to be a human.
Exactly right.
Very well done.
You know?
Yep.
So, well, you guys, I have to say that this has been just so awesome to hang out with all of you. I mean, I've literally never met any of you before this night, and I feel like we're all going to be really great friends from here on out, which is really exciting. But it's 8:30 my time, which means in a half an hour, people in Bali are starting to wake up, which means that I have to get back to work.
Nice.
Well, it was nice to meet you.
My bedtime too.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's great
It's nice to
having
meet
you,
you.
Sarah. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Let's do this again. Anytime you guys are drinking, let me know. I'll try to grab a quick sip and say hello.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on today. I appreciate all of your empire. And, you know, the thing is 3D printing, let me just say this before I get off. 3D printing has the ability to change the world in so many aspects, medically, scientifically. Keep pushing that
Yeah,
because
it's really fun.
because the thing is that I have a friend in California that is building, they're doing like drones that are powered on Bitcoin. So I think that Bitcoin, the community could just skyrocket what 3D printers are doing and really bring them to the next level by creating the ability to be profitable without having to touch government systems that are trying to monopolize on innovation.
Right
So,
on.
I'll leave it at that.
Also,
All
you
right,
can
well-
your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Sorry?
I said you can actually print your girlfriend or boyfriend.
What did he say? I still
What
can't hear
about
you.
your?
You could print
Oh,
Oh,
friends.
they're already doing that. They're already doing it. It's
Yeah.
so crazy to see them move and talk and.
Keep an eye in Japan for that.
Yeah, right.
They're
they're all over that.
They're
Yeah.
already on it. They're already on it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was so wonderful to chat with you all.
Likewise.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
See everybody later too.
Find
Signing
me
off.
on Facebook or find me on Twitter or find me on Google Plus because I would love to keep in touch with all of you and learn more about your projects and drink good beer in the future together. There's nothing like it.
Right.
Okay, see
Bye.
you guys.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Are you guys leaving? You leaving?
Probably in like 5 minutes. I'm kind of drunk.
I have a headache.
So yeah, talk to your boy. He says what's up, by the way. It's in the bag. He's like, I have no doubt I will see. The last words he said, I have no doubt I will see you again. And when I do, feel free to walk over to the ISA side and say what's up. We'll have lunch. So
So is he doing an SDA interview thing?
yeah, I guess they have him doing screenings now for Tech Systems.
Cool.
So
Did they let you go or did you quit?
what?
Nothing.
I haven't quit yet.
No,
I-
from Tech Systems. Weren't you at
Tech-
State
no.
Farm Richmond?
No. Yeah, Tech Systems. I left. I quit. The project that like even Nick worked on, but before he moved, was winding down. We had like 2 or 3 months left, and I was like, okay, well, this is almost over, and I'm not gonna get fucked to where I like have to sit on the phone all day and like say like, hello, can I help you with your bullshit problem? So I was like, give me a job, you know, something a little bit where I don't have to do that, and they weren't being too forthcoming. So I went out and found my own job, which turned out to be for a crappy company, and then I left that company for this job, and I'm just not happy with what I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to move back up to Chicago within the next like year and a half or 2 years. So I really just need a contract job that I can like stop showing up to and get fired from, and then collect unemployment until I find another job, or I can use them to help me find a job up near the city. Whichever comes first.
Awesome. Speaking of jobs, how's your job going, Chris?
Things are a little slow right now. Struggling to get hours, but starting next weekend, I'm taking over the part-time guys' weekend route, so I'll have 9 stores over the weekend, and that should alleviate some economic hardship temporarily, at least through the holidays and stuff. But yeah, I took a pay cut to go with this with this new job, but I'm hoping that everything that I'm doing, like going to some of the sponsored events that we sponsor, will help my profile in the long run. Because I don't want to be a merchandiser for obviously the rest of my life. I want to get into sales, or I want to do something more than that. So I'm hoping that it will
turn my basement into a brewery.
You should do that. You're my unicorn.
Holy crap.
You didn't know I did that.
You're a beernicorn.
Unicorn.
The magical mystical creature, they piss beer. It's delicious.
That's gross. Because I just totally visualized how you would go about getting it.
I would
Milk a cow.
like totally give a unicorn a BJ. A
It's
unit
so
load.
magical. It's not perverted. It's magic.
Kisses beer and farts rainbows. Sounds like a magical night.
There you go.
Okay, well, we're going to go to bed, everybody. So, Chris,
All right.
it was fun. Talk to you soon. Tell Ivana
All
I said hi.
All right. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Later, Pa. Later, Chris.
Bye.
Adios.